This episode is brought to you by Tinder. Take control of your 2024 love life with Tinder. It's easy, it's fun, it's the place for possibilities. On Tinder, you can find someone who totally gets you in your feels, someone just to vibe with. Take it fast, take it slow. It's totally up to you. So grab your phone, tap that download button, and make this year epic. Explore all of the possibilities for yourself. Tinder, it starts with a swipe. Download Tinder today.
MC Light here, and this time I'm using my voice to tell you about something I just started using. New Shea Moisture deodorants, created for rich melanin skin. Shea Moisture antiperspirant deodorants even skin tone and protect against sweat and odor for 48 hours. Shea Moisture whole body deodorants freshen all over all day with plant-based ingredients, no aluminum. Black dermatologists and gynecologists approved. I'm just saying, living in my rich melanin and protecting it too.
Well, I don't know. Everyone has a podcast now.
Well, not really. What is true is that, according to Nielsen statistics, 55% of the U.S. population, that's over 155 million people, have listened to a podcast, and 24% of the population, that's 68 million people, listen to podcasts weekly. And these numbers continue to trend upward.
What's also true is that over 75% of all podcasts fade away after the first few episodes. It could be for a variety of reasons: lack of strong concept, poor production value, people not realizing how much time needs to be dedicated to it, or simply just not knowing how to get the word out about podcasts. That's where WeKnowPodcasting.com comes in.
At WeKnowPodcasting.com, we have a combined 25 years of podcast experience, and we can help you achieve your podcasting goals. Whether you need help starting a new podcast or want to take your currently active podcast to the next level, we got you. From consultations to concept development, from theme music to editing, promotion, animation, graphics, you name it, and we're here to help.
Don't become another failed podcast statistic. Let us guide you and help your show become a success. Check out the website at WeKnowPodcasting.com, and even if you're on the fence, don't hesitate to reach out. We're friendly guys, we're passionate about pods, and we're here to help.
Let's party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, and everybody's gonna spread the holiday cheer. 'Cause it's Christmas. Whoa, oh, it's the best time of the year. Let's do fake reindeer.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So, musical month is continuing, and it turns out that it's really difficult to come up with a variety of different formats of musical, but there was a TV show that ran on the CW called
Yes.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend that was all musicals, and I thought, oh, we could do the Christmas episode of that.
Yeah, there are plenty of Christmas musical related things, but they're almost things that I want to save for when we get closer to the actual season. In terms of we've always talked about Scrooge. There's another South Park Christmas musical episode that I want to talk about as we get closer. As we do musical month of August, we have to be careful because we don't want to, not that we don't love the month of August, but we don't want to, I hate to use the term waste, but we don't want to use a topic that we want to approach as we get closer to the season in the month of August when it is still 90-something degrees outside. Even though, as of today, we're recording this on August 18th. Pumpkin's back at Dunkin', baby.
Yeah, it is. All right. So, what I ended up picking was Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Season 1, Episode 8, My Mom, Greg's Mom, and Joshua's Sweet Dance Moves. Dylan, what is your experience with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, or is this the only time you've ever watched it?
This is the only time I've ever watched Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I've heard of it, and when I found out it was on the CW after I was in the middle of watching it, maybe I got 5 minutes into it, and I was like, yep, this is a CW show.
Yeah, for sure. So
I think I texted you probably 5 minutes into it, and based on this and the show that you had us cover before, that was 30 Rock but not 30 Rock, I believe I said that you had the television taste of a married middle-aged white woman.
So accurate, but still hurtful. No, I mean, my television taste is I'll put on anything.
You really, really will. Like, I thought I was always, like, open to watching pretty much anything, but you are, and I appreciate you for that, Matt.
So Crazy Ex-Girlfriend came heavily recommended to me for a long time. The point that made me officially want to watch it was actually doing my podcast, One Hit Thunder.
Yeah.
We did an episode on Fountains of Wayne, and we were talking about all the different stuff that Adam Schlesinger did outside of that band. And one of those was that he was the main songwriter for every episode of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. There are problems with this show, for sure. I don't think the songs are usually the problem.
If anything, the songs were probably the best part.
Yeah, and there was only 2 in this episode.
Yeah.
Let me give you a quick overview of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Not that I'm trying to convince you to watch the show, but I think that Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is a brilliant mini-series that someone decided to stretch out over 4 seasons.
Okay.
There are 4 different seasons of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. All 4 seasons, there's a brand new theme song for every season.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that the definition of crazy in the title changes season to season, right? So this first season, you've got Rachel Bloom's character who hops on a plane and decides to move from New York to California to be in the same city as the guy that she dated for a week in musical camp when she was in junior high.
Yeah, that would be, what is his name?
Josh
Chan.
Josh Chan. So that is the actions of a crazy person.
Yeah.
Season 2, Josh and her actually start dating. And then the crazy becomes more of like crazy in love. Like the theme song is all about how happy she is. She's crazy in love. They break up, and season 3, the theme song is actually a parody of Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood at that point, because she's crazy for vengeance. Like she's doing everything to destroy his life. But then where the show actually is brilliant is season 4. End of season 3, beginning of season 4 is where the character is diagnosed with a manic depressive social disorder. And the show really becomes this powerful story about like realizing that there's something chemically wrong with your brain. And it goes through that whole journey. There's a really catchy song. It's inspired by the opening song from La La Land. Okay. But the songs are called Antidepressants Are So Not a Big Deal. And it's like an anthem about like, yo, everybody should be on antidepressants. Like everybody has these things, and like we've really like stigmatized to have to see a therapist, and we totally shouldn't. And that fourth season,
100%.
Yeah, that 4th season I love, and I will rewatch some episodes from that 4th season. I also think that a lot of the best songs are from that 4th season. Season 1 was real tough to get through.
Yeah, honestly, what you just described sounds 1,000 times better than what you had me watch.
No, for sure. And that's what I mean. Like, if this was a 10-episode series, I'd be like, yo, watch it. But the fact that it's like 60 episodes and I only think that about 15 of them are any good, very like hard to recommend to people. But watching this episode again, I was reminded of all the reasons why I had a tough time watching the first season. But there are some things that I think are funny. I will say right out the gate that Heather is the star of this show as far as I'm concerned, which is, you know, the very monotone, almost like Aubrey Plaza type character. She never changes that personality the entire show.
Yeah, I actually made a note that Heather is the only likable character pretty much of the main group.
So here's a great joke that plays out in the 4th season. So the character of Greg, right?
Yeah.
Greg left the show in season 2. And when Greg was first introduced, it was kind of this concept of like, she's moving here for Josh Chen, but she's supposed to be with Greg. Like that was like the way that written. And the actor playing Greg just decided to leave. So he quits the show. They write the character off. Well, season 4, they're like, let's reintroduce Greg and start this will they, won't they thing. There's a scene where she's talking about the different guys that she dated, and every one of the female characters is like, well, you're supposed to be with Greg. And she's like, no, the only way I could ever date Greg is if he was a completely different person. And Skylar Austin comes in and plays Greg for the whole fourth season.
Oh, now that's fun.
like-
I think I could appreciate
Like,
that.
but again, it's like there's so much good in season 4, but I don't know if it's worth the first 3 seasons to get there.
Dude, there's honestly, like, after watching this episode, there's no part of me that wants to watch this show.
And I don't think you would.
I love your idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the what it gets into in season 4, but if I have to suffer through like multiple seasons of what I experienced last night, I don't want to watch it. Now, that sounded really harsh. That sounds really harsh. This show is not an abomination, but what I'm saying is like there is nothing about this show that I found appealing.
No. And rewatching the episode, I felt the same way. My notes of the stuff that I like, there's a couple good quotes in here, but really the biggest thing for me is that I did add California Christmas Time to my Christmas playlist because I was like, all right, that song actually is kind of rips. The closing song, and I even wrote down the lyric.
The closing song, yeah.
And I wrote down the lyric, California Christmas Time, we're just hanging out listening to Sublime and all of our other reggae bands are white.
White. Yep. I've never identified with a Christmas song line as much as I identified with that. So, for anyone that knows me, I have like a real interest in white reggae bands, except for 311. I can't stand 311.
Huge UB40 fan on this call.
I love UB40. Like, just going through it, I've got IMDb pulled up because at one point I couldn't remember anyone's names.
This episode is brought to you by Stitch Fix. Love trying new fashion trends, but find it all a little intimidating? With Stitch Fix, refreshing your wardrobe has never been easier. They figured out the new 2024 trends so you don't have to. Just give your stylist your size, style, and budget preferences, and they'll send you 5 just-for-you pieces, plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. Refresh your 2024 wardrobe now and get started today at StitchFix.com.
There's a lot that could impress you about the all-new Honda Prologue EV. True, it's got class-leading passenger space and clean, thoughtful design and intuitive technology. But what really sets the Prologue apart from the competition is that it's more than an EV. It's a Honda. Honda, the power of dreams. Visit honda.com/prologue to learn more.
The whole storyline about Rebecca trying to impress her mom, like, I mean, I get it. Like, I get that some people deal with that, but it just felt so over the top that at one point, like, you would not be acting this horrible of a person to impress your mother. Like, telling someone that they have to sleep with your mom for a fucking ring, like, that, it didn't make any sense. And I even told you, I was like, Rachel Bloom is like, and I don't know much about her in other things, but like as Rebecca Bunch, I'm like, this character is obnoxious.
So I will tell you this much about Rachel Bloom. So she got her start as like a YouTube musical comedian. Her big like viral hit was Fuck Me Ray Bradbury, which was a song about how she'd be willing to give it up to Ray Bradbury.
Same.
But the show, she created the show, she wrote the show, and what Rebecca, the character, ultimately has in season 4 is something that she has. She has like a multiple personality disorder. Okay. So it definitely pulls from a very real place, but I think she goes almost too far in making the character. I get what her point is, because there's a song in the first season that's called Oh My God, I'm the Villain of My Story. And it's like a song about realizing like, oh, I'm the problem, right? But
yeah,
the hard ask there is that's like episode 12 or 13. So you go through like 12 or 13 episodes where you're like, am I supposed to be like rooting for this character because they're not likable?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. It's like, what I do recommend, if I recommend only one thing to you,
oh God,
go on Netflix and go to season 4 and go to the very last episode. The very last episode of the show, it's literally just them performing all of the most popular songs in front of a live audience. Like, out of character. It's just the actors putting on, like, an hour-long stage show.
Fun. Like, what you're describing to me sounds awesome.
I would love for someone to take 4 seasons of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and consolidate it into a 2-hour stage show that, like, moves the plot along, and I think you'd have a great musical. But as far as 4 seasons of it, not so great. Were there any quotes that you wrote down that actually made you chuckle? I agree with you that the bunch mother storyline is like the Alec Baldwin's mother, but way too far in like different directions type thing. The only line that I wrote down tied to that plot line that I thought was funny was the flashback where she's like, you know, the principal says that he thinks that you're the prettiest mom in my grade. And the mom just goes, just in your grade.
No, I mean, there's nothing that like stuck out to me quote wise. I don't know, dude. I feel like I'm giving this the Holliston treatment.
No,
like,
totally.
This just isn't for me, man.
No, because the difference is that I have no passion or attachment to this show the way that you did with Holliston.
Yeah, I will say the Greg stuff, that was annoying as well.
I like that his parents are perfect and that he's totally the asshole.
Yeah, I'm like, God, this dude's such a dick. And there you go. That's the quote that I'll pull out. Eventually when his little brother, I think his name was Tim or something, like looks at him and just goes, you're being a dick. And Greg just looks at him and is like, all right, that was actually pretty called for.
Yeah,
I am.
I love Heather throughout that entire scene because she's like, I like that her expectations, like, oh, I'm going to see, like, this crazy dysfunctional family. Yeah. And then, like, she shows up and she's like, this family rules. This guy sucks.
Yeah, and he does, man.
She has the one line, the 2 lines I wrote down from her, because she has 2 really good lines in that scene. The one is when they bring her a drink and she just goes, baby bartender's cool. and then the other line I wrote is, in the middle of him and his mom having a big fight, she just shows up and goes, I know it's early, but can I get a plate to go?
Yes, I do remember that.
Her character makes the show digestible to me. Like, I would have given up the show without her character.
Dude, I don't think you could have.
Yeah.
Tell me something about Josh, man, because I feel like, I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention or what, but I feel like we get Josh at the mall. He runs into that kid who's doing like the dance thing. The kid's like, oh, like obviously the kid knows who Josh is. Apparently Josh was like kind of well known as a dancer or something.
So
and he's like, come on out. And Josh is like, I can't, I've got to work. And then Josh shows up and the kid fakes an injury so Josh can dance. I don't know if I like just wasn't paying attention.
No, I mean,
or what. I feel like I missed something.
So Josh, the character, is kind of an idiot, right?
Okay,
but he's like,
I could see that.
But he's like a good, like he's got probably the purest heart out of anybody on the show. Like he just wants good things to happen to people, but like he just walks through life very oblivious, like blinders on to bad things, only good things or whatever. So this episode, like he's complaining about like being an adult at Christmas time because he can't like do all the cool things that all the kids are doing or whatever.
Yeah,
but like
you totally can.
The piece where the kid bumped into him is that the storyline is that when Josh was at the high school, because he's always lived in this town, when he went to that high school, he started the school dance crew that this kid is now on. Like years after the fact, the crew is still going. And I think the idea is that the kid more so was like, not like, I'm going to fake this injury. Like he saw that this guy was in a bad place and was like, I know the joy of dance, like what the joy of dance brings to me. So like as a Christmas gift, I'm going to let this guy like relive something that brought him joy. Pretty sure, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that it does like lead into a subplot of him like becoming the coach for the dance crew. In like later episodes. I feel like the answer is no on this, but I did write down, did you cry?
No.
Yeah.
Maybe like I didn't cry, but there were points where I was like, specifically towards the end where I feel like we were supposed to get to a point where Rebecca kind of stood up to her mother
Yeah.
a little bit, and then she's like, "You're coming home from Passover, right?" And Rebecca's like, "No, I'm not coming home for Passover." And then her mother starts tearing up, and she's like, "Okay, I'm coming home for Passover." And I'm like, "What the fuck
Yeah.
did we just watch 40 minutes of this for?"
The only part, and I wouldn't say I cried, not like another TV show that we're going to talk about in 2 weeks.
Oh my god,
but,
dude!
But there is a point where the mom's giving a speech, and she says like, "You think I hate you? Like, I love you so much that it puts me through pain and worry all of the time." And it's like that line got to me a little bit because I think about like my own parent stuff. You know what I mean? Like not that I think my parents hate me, but like there's those points where it's like I don't think that they believe in my abilities to do what I'm doing with like the podcasting stuff. But then it's like, no, they just love me so much that they don't want me to have to like struggle to make money. Like they want it to just be easy.
Which I totally get, but
it's unearned in this episode.
Yeah, and it's especially like the way she's acting isn't from
love,
a caring for her daughter standpoint. She
it's
wants
status.
to fuck the guy.
Yeah.
Like that. What does that have to do with wanting your daughter to be successful?
Yeah, no, it's
like,
mostly a status thing above all else for her.
Yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't make sense. And I think we've seen other shows and movies do that plot before
and do it better.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for sure. But I think this was the only Christmas episode of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, so there's no reason to ever have to rope you into another one. But
yeah, I don't hate it, but like just watching
but you
it,
don't love it. That's for sure.
I don't love it, dude. That was so. Yeah, I'll watch Emmett Otter before I watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
My goal, my campaign to make you not say that Emmett Otter is the worst thing we've ever talked about has finally been a success.
I can
everybody.
almost guarantee between the two of us, we can come up with things way worse than Emmett Otter.
Oh, for sure, because I don't think Emmett Otter's bad. But anyway, hey, Dylan.
Yeah.
Happy California Christmas.
Oh, God. Happy California Christmas, Matt.
Oh, whoa, oh, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holly, have a great holly, have a merry happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.